This is the CX90 PHEV, and this is the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. Today we're going to put both of these plugins head to head. All right, so which models are we testing today? This is the CX90 GSL, which is the mid trim, and this is the GT Premium, which is the Outlander's top trim. Reason why I'm actually testing these two is because I think it's the closest in terms of price. This one comes in at just under 60,000 Canadian dollars, and this GT Premium comes in at just over 57,000. It is a little bit less for the top trim that you get for the mid trim, and they are quite different. So starting with the CX90, it is quite a bit larger than the Outlander, 16 inches longer in fact, and the wheelbase is also longer. It's 4 inches wider than the Outlander, which is going to really benefit you on interior space than the Outlander. Color-wise, look at this. The red's so metallic, one of my favorite colors of all time. And I'm just wondering, just waiting, when is Mazda going to get an award for some of their colors? They are absolutely stunning. This one, plus the new Artisan Red, which is kind of like a burgundy in the CX90, is seriously fantastic. This is the diamond white. Yeah, it's white, but it has some metallic. And what's nice about it is that it's fairly dirty. We're under water restrictions right now, so I can't wash it, but it still doesn't look really dirty. But they do have a couple great colors like Cosmic Blue and the Red Diamond. I've seen them on the road, and yeah, I think it's worth going for those more colorful colors if you're gonna get an Outlander. Style-wise, you can see, you have this black piano finish here in the chrome. It looks really elegant. This, I think, with this color, the styling is just a little bit more elegant than the Outlander. Outlander is a little busier looking, but I think the Outlander has better proportions. And I like the two-tone on the GT. I think it has a nice contrast to it. But yeah, so proportion-wise, better, a little bit busier, but this one is a little bit more elegant. We get headlamp washers on the Outlander, which we do not get with the CX90. Wheel sizes, you start from 19-inch wheels on the CX90, you can go all the way to 21s if you go for the GT top trim. On the Outlander, you get 18-inch wheels, and on the top GT, you get the 20-inch wheels that we have here. Both vehicles have the proximity key. On this one, it's a button. On there, it's a touch sensor, but both of them don't extend to the rear doors, only for the front doors. So even Steven right there. All right, onto the back side here, you'll see the CX90 has more of a roundish design compared to the edgier Outlander. They both have nice clean valences under the rear. You don't see any visible tailpipes on these. They both have a rear wiper, and they are both equipped with a hands-free power liftgate. So just a little kick and up they come. Now what's really surprising is behind the third row on both these, you're almost getting a very similar amount of cargo space, even though this CX90 is quite a bit longer. And that's because you get a kind of a trough area for the Outlander. That's the design of the seats where they fold in, where these seats fold down. And once you fold the third row down on the CX90, that's where you're gonna see a lot more cargo area than the Outlander. Because remember, we have about 16 inches more room to play with on this 3-row right here. GT Outlander, it comes standard with power folding mirrors as well. The GT is equipped with a 1500 watt built-in inverter. On the GSL, you do not get that, but one thing they both share, one of my favorites, you get both a lock and a close button for the tailgate. Lock, walk away, and locks by itself. The inside of the CX90 is a nice, modern, fresh look. We've reviewed it before, and yeah, there's not a lot of bad things to say about just the textures that they're using. There is a little bit of hard plastic on this GSL, but yeah, overall, it looks good. You have some nice chrome accents. You get a standard heated leather steering wheel on this GSL. We get heated seats here. You can get ventilated seats, but you have to move up to the GT trim. I love the climate control buttons or the toggles here, easy to use. We have wireless charging. We have a panoramic roof as well. Up front, you have a 10.25-inch infotainment screen. Graphics are very clear. However, there's one thing that I'm not a fan of, and that is this does have CarPlay and Android Auto, but it's wired. If you go up to the top trim, the GT, you do get the wireless experience, but that's not the issue here. The issue is that when you have the wired CarPlay, you have to use it with the knob controller, the rolling controller on the center console. The touchscreen does not work for that. If you go to the wireless system on the top trim, on CarPlay and Android Auto, you can actually use the screen as a touchscreen. And I'm telling you, if you've never tried it before, using a wheel to use your CarPlay or Android Auto is just, it's so anti-intuitive. It just feels weird. You just want to touch all the time. Instead, you have to scroll through to get to certain things. And yeah, I really wish they could change that. I bet you maybe in firmware something they could change that. But yeah, so lots of room. We also get 10-way power adjustable seat for the driver and 4-way for the passenger, but there are no memory settings on this. If you go for the GT trim, you do get things like the memory settings for the power seats. You get a head-up display as well as a 360 camera. This has just the backup camera. So the inside of the Outlander PHEV is completely different than the CX90. One thing that you notice right away is the size in the front. It's the width. You really do feel like it is quite a bit wider for the CX90 than the Outlander PHEV. Now, we mentioned this is the top GT trim, and it comes in at less than the mid trim of the CX90. And so this GT Premium has so many features. It's pretty crazy. First of all, you get a standard 12.3-inch driver display. We get a heated steering wheel, head-up display. We also get a heated semi-aniline quilted leather seats with massage. And not only does it have memory settings for the driver, there's memory settings even for the passenger as well. We have a large panoramic roof that opens as well. We also have a 9-inch display, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it's a full touchscreen as well. Just touch it and check it out. You can do anything you want by touch. You don't have to actually just be on Apple CarPlay to use that. Also, 360 camera, and it is one of the best ones that I've used. I love it because there is a dedicated camera button, and when you're coming up to a curb, for instance, if you're parking, just hit it twice. It's going to give you that nice side view. You can see exactly where your tires are. Yeah, so that's all standard as well. You also get a Bose audio system and wireless charging. A couple of things that the Outlander does not have, the CX90 does though, is front ventilated seats. You can actually get them on the top GT spec trim on the CX90. This one here, doesn't matter what trim you get, it's not available. Also, the Home Link, which is where you program your garage doors, it's available on the top trim on the CX90, not available on any of the trims on the Outlander. However, you can connect Home Link to your Mitsubishi Connect app and use it that way as well. So in the back, you'll see we have 2 captain seats in the second row on this GSL. GSL and GT get the captain seats. If you want the bench for the extra passenger, for the 8-passenger vehicle, you're going to have to use the base trim. But these do slide forward and back. They have a nice armrest and they recline as well. Lots of leg room, knee room. We have seat back pockets. We have tri-zone climate control, so you have your own control here, USBs, decent amount of headroom, a fold up drink holder, armrests. Yeah, if you go for the GT, you also get the manual sunshades and heated rear seats. All right, you might hear a little bit of whirring. That is the heat pump working, and we do have tri-zone climate control. I have the AC on right now. It's very, very hot outside. So in the back of the Outlander, we have a full bench seat. That's all it comes in. This is only a 7-passenger. It's not available as an 8-passenger like the CX90 is on the base trim, but these seats do slide forward and back, which is very nice. They also recline. We also get heated seats for the rear. This middle middle section acts as a pass-through to the rear, as well as your drink holders right there. I do like the compartments they have for the seat backs on both sides. Here it's good to put your device here. Lots of headroom. Believe it or not, this actually has more headroom than the CX90. It's the leg room and hip room where you're going to benefit from the CX90 because of that extra longer wheelbase that you have. This GT does come with the manual sunshades, same as the CX90 GT as well. But all in all, really decent room back here for a 3-row compact SUV. Okay, the third row is actually usable back here. I have minimum amount of foot room because of where the seat rail is, but I can fit my feet underneath. But a lot of good leg room. Headroom is very good. I'm almost 5'11" and my head is not touching at all. We have drink holders, we have a USB-C on each side. Now this back third bench is actually good for 3 people. That's gonna be a little bit tight. I'm gonna say that right now. You also ride fairly low, so your knees are kind of high up. But yeah, 2 people, no problem. I could see this being a decent 6-passenger vehicle, but adding a third person back here, it's gonna be, hopefully they're really, really narrow and slim because it's gonna be tight. But otherwise, yeah, this is more than adequate for, in this class of vehicle, for a third row for sure. All right, had to do it. This is the third row of the Outlander. My head is hitting the top here, and you do have to push those seats forward in order to fit your legs, but let's just do it here. Let's just hold it. So there we go. Okay, split the difference for the room. This is not really suitable for any adults at all back here. And of course, leg room is a lot smaller than the CX90. You're getting about 11 inches extra leg room on the CX90 than you do on the Outlander. But remember, this is classified as a compact vehicle. The previous Outlander PHEV didn't even have a third row at all. So in a pinch, yeah, maybe a 10-15 minute drive to a restaurant or something like that. You don't want to take 2 cars. In a pinch, you can put 2 more people back here. Hopefully they're kids though. All right, fire up the CX90. Of course, it's fairly quiet. We are in EV mode right now. And in straight EV mode, you will get, on a full charge, 42 kilometers of EV only driving. And that's coming from a 17.8 kilowatt hour battery on here. Now, nice thing about this battery, you can charge it fairly quick, up to 80% in on a level 1 in just over 6 hours. And if you go level 2, it's basically just like an hour and a half to get it almost fully charged, which is really, really quick for a plug-in hybrid. This does not have level 3 or DC fast charging though, which the Outlander does have, which we'll talk about in a second. Another big difference though is this is equipped with an 8-speed automatic transmission instead of a variable transmission, and that's quite different. And normally I would say that I would prefer that because it's more engaging. You know, not a lot of people are fans of CVTs or eCVTs, but in this instance, I gotta say that it's really not great for the EV experience on this particular plug-in hybrid because it's not seamless, especially between first and second gear around 20 to 25K sometimes. It kind of clunks into gear, and yeah, it's I'm gonna say this, I would prefer it to actually have a single speed, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, it just doesn't lend itself well to the full EV experience though. But when you match up the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder and the electric motor, you get a total of 323 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. If you want to tow with this, is the great thing. Max towing is 3,500 pounds, which is fairly decent for this vehicle, especially as a 3-row, 7-passenger vehicle. Now, once you've depleted your battery though, mileage-wise, you're looking at 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers in city and highway combined driving, which is a little bit more than the Outlander, and you will get less range, which we're going to talk about when we head into the Outlander. I do like the ride and handling of this CX90 though, and that's no surprise because Mazda has been doing a great job bringing the drive back into your vehicle. Remember the zoom? Well, yeah, you really do get a lot of road feel with a Mazda, and this is no different. Great steering feel, good brakes. You feel really planted. Of course, this is larger, and that wider track is going to make a difference compared to the Outlander as well. My only thing, I said, it's just that transmission. It's just a little bit, I'm sure they could probably fix that in some type of programming though. The CX90 does not have as many drive modes as the Mitsubishi, but let's cycle through them. We have normal, we have sport, we have EV, and we have off-road. We go into sport, obviously, it's gonna be a little bit more responsive, and it's probably gonna prioritize just getting you the most out of that. And as you can see, you can hear it, and the display even says boost. We've actually hit the gasoline engine, and it's going to give you the best of all worlds, but it's not going to give you the best fuel economy there. Also, there is a button to prioritize your battery, so we can actually go and charge the vehicle as well. So that way, if we want to use the gasoline engine to charge that 17.8 kilowatt hour battery, we can do that as well, same as the Mitsubishi. So we're in EV mode right now, and you can actually drive very normally without that gas engine kicking on. If we do demand more power right now, if I go and say I need some passing power, put my foot to the floor, there is a slight delay for it to think about when it's going to kick that gas engine on, but it will kick it on eventually. But as soon as you don't need it, it's going to quickly go back into EV mode. All right, start the Outlander PHEV up, and what do you hear? Not much. You hear the fan going from the air conditioner, and sometimes you hear a little bit of a whir that's coming from the electric motors driving the wheels, as well as you get this little bit of a whir from the heat pump. And the heat pump is a great thing on all EVs or PHEVs because it reduces the amount of times that your gasoline has to come on. So right off the bat, range-wise, Outlander PHEV rated for 61 kilometers. That's 20 kilometers more than the CX90, which is a pretty big deal. This does have a larger battery. It's a 20 kilowatt hour battery. Combined horsepower on this is 248 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. Now, one difference though, we mentioned that CX90 has an 8-speed automatic transmission. This one does not. This one has electric motors on each axle, and that's all that's driving. And I gotta say, the experience is so much smoother on this Outlander PHEV than the CX90. That one, it was not seamless, and it just had some jerkiness to it depending on what speed you're going. For drive-wise, I really find that the CX90 has a more solid feel, but for your everyday, just your throttle management and how smooth you can drive, that goes to the Outlander for sure. So you get more range there, a little bit less power. You also get a little bit less towing capacity on this. This is rated for only 1,500 pounds on the Outlander. But if you want more of an EV experience, this is the one that's going to do it for you. You also have an innovative pedal. When we press that, it's going to give this a one-pedal drive feel, just like EVs have, other than it doesn't come to a complete stop. But it will regen when you're slowing down, and that's going to even increase your range. Now, 61K, that's the posted range. I've actually gotten a lot more depending on what drive mode you're in. You can go into eco mode, for instance. There's also a power mode, which is going to give you the most amount of power. It makes a big difference. It's going to do a run to 60 or 100 kilometers an hour, 2 seconds faster even, but it's not going to be great for fuel. It's all going to depend on the conditions of the road, temperature, and what drive mode you're in. Once you run out of juice though, nice thing, it still operates just like a regular hybrid. And when it goes in and out of electric and the gasoline engine kicking on, it is very, very seamless. It's, you know, you hear a little bit of whir, but there's no shudder or anything. So that's always a great thing. And the posted combined economy on this is 9 liters per 100 kilometers, and that's for city and highway, which is less than the CX90, which it should be because this is a smaller vehicle. But yeah, you do get less than that. But in my experience, once again, not only have I gotten better range than what's posted, I've actually gotten better combined fuel economy after the battery is depleted, mainly because it's running like a regular hybrid as well. All depends how you drive though. Both vehicles come standard with all-wheel drive. This has a Mitsubishi's super all-wheel control. With the electric motors on each axle, it reacts so quick, which is a bonus. It doesn't have to rely on actual engine speed, which is very, very nice. And that applies to all electric all-wheel drive systems. Now, when it comes down to charging the Outlander though, this is where the CX90 has it beat, because this has a slower 3.2 kilowatt onboard charger. And what does that mean? If you plug it into a 110 outlet, if it's empty, it's going to take you 16 hours to fill it up. Now, the good point is if you don't drive that much, let's say you drive 20 or 30 miles a day and you're not completely emptying it, then you're gonna basically just charge overnight. And that's what we've been doing. You know, it's like plug it in like at 9 p.m. and if you leave at 7 a.m., it's pretty well full if you didn't use up the whole battery. That's a little bit slower. Level 2 is gonna run you about 6 hours, still a lot slower than the CX90, which is only about 2 hours. It is a smaller battery though than this. And this also has level 3 DC fast charging though, which is very unique in the plug-in hybrid space, which is good. It'll take you about 35 minutes, very, very quick. However, I'm not sure what application you would really need or want to use a DC fast charger. First of all, a lot of them, if you want the fast speeds, they're expensive. And to get 61 kilometers out of it while sitting there for 35-40 minutes, you could probably just fill it up or use gas, and it's probably going to be a wash, depending what the cost of fuel is. Mitsubishi's been doing this PHEV game for quite a while. They're one of the best-selling SUVs, PHEVs in the world. And yeah, they really did get it right. So if you really want one of the best PHEV experiences, you're not going to be disappointed with the Outlander for sure. Okay, we're not even in power mode. We're just in EV mode. If I hit the throttle, there you go. The gasoline engine kicked on. It didn't take as long as the CX90, and it just really ramps itself up to kind of match the speed and everything else. It's really, really smooth. Like it's on, and I don't even know that I only know the gasoline engine's on because I can see it on the tachometer. That's it. All right, let's do a recap and then we'll wrap it up. So which one do you choose? It's all gonna depend on your needs. So let's start with the CX90. You're gonna get more horsepower, more towing capability. You get a larger vehicle, outside and inside, and a more modern interior, and also quicker charging capabilities than the Outlander, but it's gonna come at a cost, and that is money-wise, because the Outlander PHEV has a much lower starting price, almost $10,000 lower, plus it qualifies for more rebates than the CX90, that is in Canada. So make sure to check with your local area if you get rebates on either of these vehicles. Also, way more features, way more bang for the buck, and the most important thing, the range. You get over 60 kilometers of EV driving only on the Outlander, where you're limited to 42K. We've gotten a lot more than 60 kilometers on this at times. So if that's important to you, this has got to be on the top of your list. There's our head-to-head look at the CX90 and the Outlander plugins. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Don't forget, like and subscribe. See you on the next video. Cheers.